Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's market call session. I see a couple of persons online. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we today? And how has the trading week been treating us so far? Let's engage a bit before we go straight into business, shall we?
Incoming mail.
Hi, Anna. Good morning, ma'am. Okay, so let us look at what the market has in store for us. We're going to be starting today's analysis session looking at commodity currencies. That includes AUD/USD, NZD/USD, and USD CAD. After which, my colleague Demola is going to come give us a detailed analysis as well on indices. So please endeavor to pay attention. Now, I see a couple of new names here, so I believe these are first timers joining the market color session. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be using one of our indicator-based strategy. And I say that because I understand not all of us are familiar with the indicators on the chart, so it may look a bit choked up or even confusing, but please don't allow it confuse you. What you want to do is to take note of the levels we'll be drawing out. Take note of the levels for those of us that don't have the indicators, right? Okay, so without wasting too much more time, let us see what NZD/USD has in store for us today. I'm going to be starting off looking at the H4 time frame. These were levels we marked out from our last session last week, Thursday. I'm going to just delete them so I can start from the top for the sake of those of us who did not join us on Thursday. Now, NZD/USD, let's zoom out a bit to see the bigger picture. You'd see that it looked like this was a major structure, but with the number of structure points that NZD/USD has broken to the downside, safe to say our major structure is starting to look, more downward-ish on the H4 time frame. Now, looking at this, you'd see sunshine has been printed, and sunshine, the sunshine indicator basically means that profit taking has occurred. What does that mean? People who were buying this move, NZD/USD, people who started buying from 13th of October to this point are gradually taking profit out of the market. Now, what happens when these institutions, the big boys, start to take their funds out? We're going to expect a retracement or an eventual reversal. Now, having that in mind, seeing sunshine here, I think we may see a tiny retracement, right? Before price will either continue upwards to give us a better entry to continue to sell. So sunshine has been printed. Downtrend break of structure is to the downside. Our trend is kind of sloping to the upside still, which is this indicator. It has not fully turned, but momentum is downward, and pullback is also down. Now, looking at this, let's go on H1 to see more data. On the H1 time frame now, we see that price already broke through these two indicators. This would have been a point of interest I would have marked out if we did this session earlier. Right? So this would have been a POI. The price has now broken through. It not just broke through, it came back to retest, and then this buy happened. But sunshine has been printed, so we may see more temporal sales back into this indicator before we now see whether we're going to see another buy from here into this one. Now, if price comes back in here, is it possible to see a sell continuation? Yes, it is, bearing in mind that here H4 has broken relevant structure points to the downside. So this may just be a temporary sell to buy back into the zone, right? Before we now start looking for sell continuations, provided our patterns are met. Now, we'll now go on M5 to mark out even more specific POIs, for where price could, trade into, especially for this session. Now, what are those points of interest we love to mark out? Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. These now act as support and resistance levels that could hold price when price eventually trades into those zones. Day before yesterday's high and day before yesterday's low as well. Perfect. So these are now my core levels. These are now my core levels. I'm saying that price will temporarily sell into this zone, right? I still maintain that. Expecting price to temporarily sell into the zone. And if this support level holds, then we'll see price push upward to trade possibly into this indicator, which is our trend on the H1. However, if price continues to sell and is able to violate this zone and this zone, then it may be safe to say that the sell continuation of NZD/USD is in full force. Remember what character patterns or characteristic patterns we're currently seeing. If this makes sense, please tell me. If If you understand what I just said, let me know while I move into the other. So as we have questions while I discuss, just type them in the chat box, and when I'm done, I'll just get straight to answering the questions. Questions relating to the commodity currency pairs that we're looking at. So I'm going to quickly take this off as well, start from the top. Now for AUD USD, from somewhere around between March and April, this guy bought for so long, right? So major structure on AUD USD on H4 is looking into the upside from March. It's been a long time. That's a lot of data. Now, price is now currently, it has changed character, giving us a confirmatory break of structure. Sunshine has been printed. Because I now see this, what am I now saying? I'm saying there's going to be a sell. A sell into what level? If this sell is going to happen, we're looking at AUD selling probably into this zone, which is, this first indicator here. And if it happens to break through, this would be the second level. But if AUD now continues to sell and violate this zone, remember, a temporary retracement or an eventual reversal, right? So if it breaks through this zone, we're going to know that the sales are back in full force. Now, looking at M5, what do I want to do here? I want to mark out my support and resistance zones, which come in the form of yesterday's high, marked out into today's data, before yesterday's high as well, mark it out into today, and then yesterday's low, which is basically the lowest point of yesterday, which happens to be in confluence with our trend, and then a day before yesterday is a low right here. Double confluence. So there's confluence here, there's confluence here. Now, what am I now seeing the USD doing? Price came back in here. It broke through, came back, broke below it, right? Price is now trading downward. I'm looking at taking a sell position on AUD. It's going to be fast, just from here to here. That's about 20-something pips, right? So not much, but this could be a very good scalping opportunity. Of course, not saying you should go ahead and scalp, but this could present a good scalping opportunity. Now, the only thing that could stand in the way and give us a bit of a tussle is the previous resistance here. This previous resistance could act as current support, but when price breaks through this resistance here, then we know for sure it's going to be trading all the way into this zone. Now, I'll go back to H1 so we understand even better. We're expecting temporal sales, yes? Yes, we are. And what are the levels that could act as opposed to push price, continuously to the opposite direction? This, and this. If price violates these zones, AUD/USD sell is back in full force. However, we're still going to take a quick trade targeting this zone as our take profit level. And when price gets in here and we see a confirmation to either continue to buy, that is why we don't just set spending limits at these zones. We wait to see confirmation. So these are just points of interest, areas of interest basically that will now be interested in seeing what price does when it gets around that zone. Are we together? So zooming in so you can see a better picture. The temporal sell into this level. If you look at candlesticks, you'll see that price came here around the zone. We had a change of character to the upside. So if price comes back to retest into the zone and starts to buy and eventually gives a confirmatory break of structure, it will not be surprising. However, if this zone gets taken out, then we know it's going downward. Remember, as the market moves, we react accordingly, not trying to predict, right? But of course, you have data that makes you believe certain level points would hold, and when you see confirmations, you know exactly what to do. Now, USD CAD on the H4 time frame, what do we see here? Remember on Thursday, we stated looking for temporal sell positions of USD CAD, and this was a POI that we marked out saying that price will sell into this zone. And then if it gets around here and gives us some sort of confirmation, we'll start looking for buy opportunities. Look how beautifully USD CAD has been selling ever since. Now, this strategy is called the all-weather strategy, and I believe the name is so because it serves for almost every weather condition in the market. It provides counter trade opportunities, but of course, you don't go into counter trades with the same risk you would if you were following a trend following trade. So this presented a good opportunity to take quick sales of USD CAD. But now price is still approaching this one. Sunshine has been printed, so of course this buy is not surprising. This current buy we're seeing is not surprising. So we could even see more buys of USD CAD somewhere into this zone before we now see that final up the final push downward. This is looking choked up, so let me delete this from last week and mark out fresh points for today. So you may sell or rather buy back into the zone and then give us that final push of USD in here. Provided we want to look for very good entries that makes our stop loss tight. The reason why we wait for good opportunities, ICT traders they call it OTE, right? Optimal trading entries. It's just so we're not catching the crumbs. You don't want to be forcing or rushing to the market because you're scared it's going to leave you. Best believe you're not going to catch every move in the market, so you should be fine with that. So I'll prefer for price to retrace and give me a good enough entry so my stop loss tallies. Now, USD card M5, my stop loss and my risk to return, of course. On the M5 time frame now, mark out, okay, this is going to be adjusted. Yesterday's high right here, which is where price is currently approaching. Mark out, okay, so yesterday's high and day before yesterday's high happen to be at the same level. So mark out yesterday's low and then day before yesterday's low right here. So we know what would happen with POI. So there you see, temporary retracement into the zone before price continues upward. That's basically it. I'm going to quickly take a look at Forex Factory. Quick look at Forex Factory so we know what is coming out today and how that might impact the market. So today is the 28th of October, Tuesday. It's a very slow day. There's no high impact news. Everything here is medium impact, low impact, right? So there's not much coming out today that will really cause much volatility in the market. However, tomorrow for AUD, we have CPI quarter and year-on-year coming out. So watch out for that and read up on the data to see how that would play a part in AUD USD as an asset class. Then we also have high impact news releases coming out on the Canadian dollar. There's one BOC monetary policy report rate, overnight rate. There's also federal funds rate on the dollar FOMC statement. So endeavor to watch out for the news, right? These are high impact news releases and they happen to affect all of the asset classes, well, except for New Zealand, because there's no high impact news on NZD. This is low impact or rather medium impact. So watch out for these news releases and you'll see how they play a part in this. Because of time, would have touched a bit more on understanding these fundamentals, but you can always sign up for our fundamental class to teach you how to understand these different news releases. And you can also use free platforms like Forex Live. They always break down these news releases and explain what they mean. So use that, see the impact, and then, apply that to the chart. All right, without taking too much more of our time, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, once more, this is the perfect time to ask. If there are no questions, just leave an emoji for me in the chat box so I know we're good to move into the next session. All right, Anna, thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, so thank you so much for giving me your attention for this time. We move into the second half. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Cheers and God bless.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the second part of the market caller session this morning. Are we doing over good? Hopefully you're fine. All right, very quickly I'll be sharing my screen. We'll look at the markets together, the US equities market and all the markets associated to it this morning. on the daily time frame, as you can see here, starting with the S&P 500, we can see that we are extremely bullish, right? The prediction of October being a bullish month actually came to pass. However, the dynamics to which it started was very rough, right? Intro into October was kind of bearish, right? We saw like a major sell-off. This was the 10th of October, price sold off and then struggled around the zone, but into what's it called now? The third week and the fourth week, we began the rally to the upside, right? Which has given us this bullish move, right? Price has even broken its previous all-time high, and we are at a new level we've never seen before with the S&P 500, right? So for those that were able to catch any of the moves here, this move I wasn't able to because I wasn't in the market. This was like a jump. But then it has been quite interesting so far, so good, right? All right. That being said, let's look at the intraday kind of trade setup and see if the opportunities we can maximize from the market this morning or even into next week, all right? This week and into next week. There's a fair value gap here, which price would want to come into very soon, right? Either for a sell or for a buy. It's a fair value gap here. Definitely, this is going to be filled. And if this is going to be filled, that means price will ultimately sell into this zone to fill it, right? Ultimately, we are bullish. We are extremely bullish, no doubt about that. Everything is pointing towards the market being bullish. Why? Tech stock are doing well, extremely well. Tesla is doing well. AI-related stocks are doing well. Nvidia, AMD, and the rest. So that is suggestive of the fact that we'll see NASDAQ rallying, CS30 rallying, and even, S&P 500 also rally to the upside. Right. All right. So that being said, looking at this market, I'll be looking for sales to come and fill up this zone. Minor sales, right? Just minor sales, because we've seen a lot of push to the upside, and then there's beginning to be like a form of exhaustion. If you look at the candlestick on the 4-hour time frame, form of exhaustion. So by the time we go to the 1-hour time frame, although this exhaustion is not pretty strong, look at the sales candle breathing. Look at the sales candle. They are not. There's no volume, right? There's no volume, significant volume. It's giving like a bearish flag, which price will something like this. For those that understand price pattern, something like this, and then price is ultimately going to do what? Boom, continue again, right? So that is what the candlestick sprinting currently. But nonetheless, we'll be looking at the markets. Let me look at 15 minutes if there are levels we could enter from to say you want to sell the market into this zone. The only level I'm seeing here is this, right? This level here. Price using all of this as a form of inducement, tapping into this and then selling down into this zone. Nothing much, and it's a quick in and out kind of trade, but then into this and then come here into this zone, probably 50% of the zone, and then we'll continue our push to the upside once again, because the market is really, really bullish. And if it's bullish, you don't want to be on the wrong side. You don't want to be on the other side because it's so volatile. All right, this is what I'm looking at this morning. Overall, I'm watching out for this market to come to a reasonable discount level, and then I'll buy, continue to push to the upside. However, for intraday trades, this is what I'll be looking out for sale, right? It's a sweep, break to the downside, price coming back into this zone, and then ultimately we are going to feel all of this, right? So that's it for me on S&P 500. Let's move to US 100. US 100 is also what? Also bullish, extremely bullish, extremely bullish. it's a good time to hold US stocks, right? For those that trade beyond forex markets, I mean, if you look at your portfolio now, everywhere should be green. Everywhere should be green, especially those invested in VOO, right? Vanguard ETF. You should be solid, right? Should be solid. And that's one useful thing about trading US equities markets. The knowledge from CFD trading, which is like FX, contract for different trading, you can apply that to now use in your stock trading, right? Your stock portfolio, right? So that's one thing we also do. We look at individual stock, look at their fundamentals, look at, after looking at the fundamental, the P&L statements, your financial statements, for the years, see if it's good. Then you use your technical analysis to look for better ways, right? To look for more reasonable price to enter. Of course, the company is a good company already, so at any price you enter, eventually they will grow, and then you meet your profits probably in 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, right? But then having the knowledge of technical analysis helps you to, in a way, get in at a better price, again, at a fair price. All right. US 100 is overall very bullish, right? Bullish the upside, and then we also have some gaps here, which we expect the market is going to fill. When is it going to fill? Probably this week. We don't know, but then eventually we expect this gap, this jump to be filled. There's not such thing like inefficiency in the market. It wouldn't continue like this. It will always come to fill this jump we have here. On the 4-hour time frame, also like the same price action, and we have some interesting zones on the 4-hour time frame for price to really push. This is quite interesting. WFVG, yeah, right below is another block. So all of this drama in with this combined, it's a good confluence for price to actually come to the downside, right? Except if we have a significant fundamental again that is going to push this market. Probably China and US able to come up with another good deal, right? Or something happen, an innovation in AI or something, breakthrough somewhere, this market is still going to push for that because it's not fundamentally driven by technicals, no, right? It's driven heavily by what is happening in the real economy, right? Breakthroughs in techs and the rest. So in as much as we're using other blocks and this rest, if there are news that are significant, might not even use any other block. Just look for the closest point of reference, either a fair value gap, breakout block, any other thing, and then use it to move, right? Because if you look at this zone, typically price should have just come and, push from this zone, but he used the fair value gap, tiny fair value gap here, and then what happened from there? So they push the upside. Usually, of course, now equities respect fair value gap, but then looking at this, typically I would expect that price comes into this order block. Although it has been mitigated a little, but then not even up to 50%. So there's no reason why price shouldn't have, returned to this order block. But then this is what we have going on, and this is what it is, right? Okay, so I'll be waiting for price to come into this zone, and from this, I'll use it to, continue my journey to the upside. Of course, the sales, I want to participate in the sales, but then a more clearer price action will be what we should look out for. We have almost the same thing with what we had on US 500, that's S&P 500, right? Sweep breaks the downside, and then, price coming into this. For this, I will want to use the fair value gap. Price coming into this fair value gap. Price tapping into this fair value gap, and we continue to the downside. That'll be a very good entry for me this morning, right? That's what I'll be looking out for this morning. The same thing also with the likes of US 30. I've seen a push to the upside, has broken all of it, all-time high, which is good, interesting, and we'll be waiting for price to give us a form of discount, right? The idea this morning is to have a discount level. price is bullish, nonetheless, but you cannot just jump into the market now. Want to get a discount price that is good, from which we will now start, our journey to the downside. All right. On the 30 minutes time frame, let me see what we have. It's kind of ranging. This price action is really not, I'm not comfortable with it. It's like a flag forming, right? Usually when you have a flag like this, like what I drew on S&P 500, next thing is a bust to the upside again, right? This is like a flag, bearish flag that is formed. It's being formed, and then typically the next thing is either this bit of liquidity sweep and then boom to the upside, right? So this is typically what we used to see, but nonetheless, we'll be looking at the market. I believe before New York session or the end of today, we should have more price action that will give us help us make more informed decision, kind of. Right, but what I'm seeing here, it's not ripe for even a sell. This price action is tricky. It's not clear. So we need more clarity for us to make more informed decision in this market. All right. That being said, that's pretty much what I have going on today on US equities market. I don't expect any much of activity today in terms of volume because there are no news to even induce any volume. But then, nonetheless, there's still New York open momentum that usually happens, right? At open of New York, we should see some level of volume being injected into this market. But apart from that, there's no news to really send us to the upside or downside, right? So that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Let me look at those available on Telegram. Anna, Ezekiel, Joseph, admin, thank you so much for joining. We see you again by 2 p.m. this afternoon, where we look at other opportunities if that's opened, or we align ourselves with what we have going on already. All right, so thank you. We'll see you again by 2 p.m. Cheers and God bless everyone. Bye.